Oh, that was good. That was good.
Well, we mean business today.
And only one of us actually means business if you look at what we're wearing for the visual learners.
Visual learners.
Peru has to go into work today and it's my day off. So I'm just chilling in my little sweat look, my little bandana. It's hair wash day. So
I guess, I mean, you are giving like, it's laundry day.
No,
but it's chic. Laundry day chic.
Thank you. I actually really do need to do laundry soon, but I'm not going to do it today or tomorrow.
Me too. Should we open today? Like, we're kind of like all over the place. You know, we're going to be talking about different things and it's going to be fun. But like, should we give the townspeople, by the way, hi, I'm Pioneer Peru.
I'm Trailblazer Nick, and this is Pioneers and Trailblazers.
And should we give our townspeople a little bit of an insight on what we do, or do you not want to talk about it? I feel like people are going to look at me dressed like this. They're going to be like, what kind of work is Peru doing?
Well, I think we've
alluded to it, but like, I think we can.
We work at a restaurant.
We work at a restaurant, and I moonlight as a maitre d' at a restaurant that's like really like fancy or whatever. Not fancy in the way that's
fancy.
Like, yeah, it's like quote unquote fancy. So it's not like Michelin starred fancy. It's more like trendy.
Why do you think
fancy.
that is? Why do you think we don't have a Michelin star?
Because it's a bistro. It's not like meant to be like fancy food.
The way some people act. They think it's a Michelin star restaurant.
Yeah, but I guess based on the prices, they're like, yeah, if I'm gonna be paying $72 for a drink and like $100 million for a burger, then sure. I guess I would be a bit of a cunt if I was like, yeah, I'm paying like $100 a person.
Well, that's the problem. I would
minimum.
never be paying that much for food.
No, yeah. I mean, going out to dinner with Nick is just like, oh my god, yay! We're going to like a place where like has a server. We're like, wow.
No, that's like treating myself. Like if I go to a sit down restaurant and like there's like a waiter and stuff, I'm like, oh my god, like this is such a splurge.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the waiter's like wearing like a Van Halen t-shirt and like jeans.
No, literally.
Yeah.
But that's luxury to me.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, whatever it is that you do, whatever you can afford, whatever you like, you know, like there's plenty of people who wouldn't like coming to a restaurant like the one that we work at, but like there's plenty of people that do, including celebrities. And so I guess sometimes, you know, you want to dress up and look chic and look sexy. Tonight, we're recording on Rent Day. It is March 1st. Happy post-leap day.
Yes, happy almost spring. We have a couple of weeks. My dad's birthday is on the spring equinox, which is the 20th.
Oh yeah, congratulations. What are you getting your dad?
He's gonna get a text.
Oh my god, text. Can I tell you something in a moment of full honesty? Because I am going through a creative process for my show, which I will be announcing here soon. But like, I have been, you know, reanalyzing the relationship that I have with my dad. And like, I've moved on from a lot of things with my dad. But like, I didn't call my dad for Christmas, for New Year's, or his birthday. These last 3 holidays, I haven't spoken to him since like Halloween.
Interesting. Is there like, did you just forget or what?
I didn't forget, particularly because to any of our Latinx townspeople, you dumb well done known that like if you've got a mom or like a single mom, or I mean either it's one or two ways. Your mom absolutely hates your dad and she's like fuck him, which my mom sometimes goes through that too. But then she's like, no matter what, your dad's your dad. It's like your father is your father. Like no matter how much abuse he like did upon the family,
you have to love him and you have to accept him because that's family.
And even in the sense where like it's not even like family, like we're all a family unit. It's more so like just like whatever happens, like he's your father. So, like, you need to wish him happy birthday, because he's your dad, you know? And I'm just like, well, what the fuck does that mean? And, like, I used to be of that school of, like, I would always reach out to him in, like, the major holidays, the major ones, you know? I don't know what's happening with me lately, and I do find it being a conscious decision, if that makes any sense, that I am intentionally not reaching out to him. And I have this looming thing in my head where, like, I know before my show goes up, I'm gonna, like, call my dad. And I'm going to be like, hey, like, I just kind of want to let you know that, I don't know, like, I'm aware I haven't contacted you in the past few holidays, but I think I just needed a break, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Do you ever take a break from talking to your family? Like, how often do you talk to your family?
Every week.
Every week? See, I talk, if my mom doesn't hear from me every day, she freaks out.
Oh, see, like, I communicate with my mother basically every day via Snapchat. Like, she is my mother loves Snapchat. She loves to send a selfie to me. So that's how we communicate practically every day. She's the only one that I really talk to on there besides her and my sister. And then I'll FaceTime her every Sunday, and when we just like catch up and stuff. And then like when I FaceTime her, I'll also like my dad will hop on the call, and then we'll all like chat and like whatever. And because it's just my mom and dad at home, so it's like when I call them both basically, and they're just like, oh, what are you doing? Like, what's up? Like, how's your week? And like, blah. And I'm like, oh, here's all my drama. And then my mom tells me all her drama, and then I'm like, Dad, what's the drama? And my dad doesn't have drama. He's just like, I just go to work. He's like, I go to work, I clock in, I clock out, I come home. Meanwhile, my mom is like, this fucking bitch. And I'm like, yes, spill the cheeses.
And your dad's just like, another day being a working class American.
Yeah, no, he's like, my dad is very chill. He's very like, I love him down.
Are you okay disclosing like your parents' political stances, or like if you guys ever talk about that stuff?
We do, honestly. Like when I went home for Christmas, I mean, like my parents are very what's the word, not like politically involved, but they like keep up to date with everything. Like my dad likes, it's like one of those people who likes to watch all sides. Like he like will watch like very like left-leaning news, and then he'll also like switch over to kind of like the right wing to see like what people are on that side are saying. Mm-hmm. But they're mostly, I mean, for the most part, from what I mean, my dad never tells me. Like every election we're always like, who'd you vote for? And he's like, that's my right, and I don't have to tell you. But like he obviously is voting like Democrat like every single time. Okay. But like he's like it's just I'm just not gonna say, because it's my right as an American, and I don't have to disclose that. And we're like, okay, Dad.
So your dad is a girly. He may not have drama or gossip at work, but he's just like, that is my personal right.
Well, no, and then like my dad has always been a girly. Like I remember like back, I will never forget when what was it? It was like in the South. It was like right after Trump got elected. It was like in that summer when all those
were the days.
Those white people with the torches, and they were like in
in North Carolina.
In North Carolina. Yes. I vividly remember when that happened.
White supremacists.
Yes,
I remember.
When that whole thing happened, we were like visiting family, like my dad's side, and it was like on the news or whatever. And I just like remember my dad like watching it, and he's like, these fucking idiots. And then he was just like, I remember he had like this moment where he like looked to like me and my sisters, and he was like, if you're ever like judging someone based on like their race, their sexuality, like all these things, he was like, because on the basis of like religion or whatever it is that these people are like trying to use to like make themselves feel superior than everyone else, he was like, you're a fucking idiot. And we were all like, tea. And I just remember I was like well, because I was also raised Catholic, so like one of the things growing up for me was like, you know, obviously like being gay, I was always just like I was always just like so worried like what my parents thought. And then there was like a moment where it was like similar, where something was happening on like the news or something, and we were all kind of like watching as a family. And I remember like my dad like looking at all of us, and he was like, if you're using the Bible, a book that was written thousands of years ago by like a group of a couple of men during a time in which like nobody had rights.
Yeah.
He was like, and you're using that to this day in 20 whatever it is, and that's like your basis for like making laws or like how you view people. He was like, yeah, he's like, that's stupid. It's like
you're using all of these laws that any idea or doctrine from like these like random dudes wrote on a non-verified like entity.
Well, and the thing was, it's like, it's so funny because I remember being in Catholic school and we like learned about, I mean, everyone was required to take a religion class, and so I remember it was like 7th or 8th grade, and we were learning about like how the Bible was written, and we learned that God technically didn't write it. He like inspired the apostles to like, you know, write it. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, blah 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 blah. And then
literally had like visions.
No, like literally, and I literally was just like, so like, what if they wanted to take like artistic liberties?
Yeah.
And I remember like my teacher being like, what? And I was like, well, you said that he inspired it, he didn't write it, so like how do we know that that's correct? And then like she was gagged, like she didn't know how to she like didn't know how to respond. She was like and then she like tried to like brush it off, and then I remember like a bunch of people like whispering and being like, oh my god, like I can't believe he just gagged her. And I was just like, because I have just never understood that. I was like, this is like, why are we using this as like a basis? Also, again, like this is like another topic, but like the whole abortion debate, whatever.
Well, of course, I mean, listen, you're gonna let these dudes who had visions in like fucking like the ancient days like define how you fucking regulate IVF and like what the fuck that means? Like, you're a fucking idiot. Well, and like no.
But also, it's like, it's not about being like, this is the thing that my dad always says to me. He's always like, whenever that topic of conversation comes up, when we're like,
your thighs are out.
Yeah, they are.
Visual learners, if you weren't wanting to look at fucking Nick's thighs, this is your episode. He's almost giving cooch. You're giving cooch almost.
It was thigh and ass day today at the gym, so
I'm
we're
like a little uncomfortable.
Girl, you better just deal with it.
The dick is out.
The dick is not
down.
The dick is not out.
Listen, I'm doing my like luxurious 2-piece, and then your dick is out.
My dick is my dick is not out. Do you know what a dick is?
Yeah. Oh, I know what a dick is. Do you know what a dick is? Title of episode.
Well, it's not out.
It's not out. Wow.
But no, my dad is always like, they're not pro-life, they're pro-birth, and I'm like, that's actually so true, because it's like, if you were really pro-life, and this is getting on my soapbox, but it's like, but if you were really, that was what you cared about, then you would also be focusing on all of those kids in foster care, in the, in those like
Of course, any people who are like at the border, any fucking refugees, any sort of child.
No, literally everything that's going on over in the Middle East.
Yeah, anyone in the Middle East, in Africa, in any fucking country, any kid or young life that has had literally nothing to do with the political climate or like the horrible scenarios they're facing right now. Literally, they just woke up and they're like, I'm a 4-year-old, and they have no idea what the fuck is happening. Like, support those assholes. And then, by the way, it's like, yeah, you want to be pro-birth or pro-whatever. It's just like, it always is at the fucking like expense of women and women presenting and just any women, female organism body, because
those who have the ability to conceive and give birth,
but only on the female scenario, on the female.
Well, not only women.
Yes, because
get pregnant.
I'm just saying anyone who's able to procreate, but who presents as female, because my point is they're not regulating how many times fucking like any fucking old white dude jerks off into a fucking towel. Like, if you want to count that as a fucking fetus or a child, the whole argument right now with IVF is that from the moment that the fucking semen comes out, it's considered a fucking child, basically a person.
Well, they did teach us in Catholic school that you're not supposed to jerk off.
Well, of course, but then are we regulating people fucking jerking off? Are we regulating?
No, because Mama, those are the ones that are making the rules. Obviously, it's not going to be the ones that are going to do it.
Argument always goes out the window, because I will if I were fucking in Congress, like fucking like giving my statement, I would be like, well, congressman from fucking like Arizona, like, when's the last time you jerked off, you fucking bitch? Because I want to know where that fucking sperm went, and like I'm gonna pull an Elle Woods on your ass and be like, we're gonna have to fucking put you in jail for fucking murdering millions of fucking like potential children that came out of your fucking hole.
And what porn were you watching?
Yeah, speaking of, oh my god, okay, so we thought today we could, because like Nick and I kind of had like a busy week just in our like day-to-day, that like,
which means neither of us had sex. That is truly it.
And listen, I, as someone who has sex pretty frequently, I will have to say, wait, okay, let's go through our days. Last Friday, I didn't have sex at all this week.
The last time I had sex was last Monday, when I had sex with a 71-year-old.
Yeah. Since we
I've tried. I literally had gone into work on multiple days, freshly douched, brought also my bulb with me just in case.
Oh, brought my bulb to work today because I'm determined.
So, and then was on Little Miss Grinder, Little Miss Sniffies, and crickets. I don't know what is in the air. I don't know what is wrong with the men of New York, but nobody wants to stand up and fuck me.
Yeah.
And it's not fair.
Yeah.
Not fair.
Yeah.
Or like when I got home, it was actually when I got home on Wednesday, I believe, I like got on Sniffies, and then as soon as I got home, I was tired as fuck. I was like, I'm ready for bed, like whatever, but I was like making myself dinner, so I was like, let me just open up Sniffies, and I look, and sure enough, all of a sudden all these hot dudes start hitting me up, and at this point I was tired, and I was like, girl, we're not the douche didn't last, like it wasn't gonna last that long. I was like, I'm not gonna shower and like rinse out really quick, like I was like, ugh. And then all these dudes were like, can I come over? And I was like, sorry, I'm tired, I'm going to bed. And then the next morning, yesterday, I woke up horny out of my mind, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to get some dick. Okay. I didn't go to the gym. I like laid in bed, tried to secure something, and it was crickets. Or like the people that I was like kind of like being suggestively flirty with or whatever, being like, what are you doing today? No, nobody. wanted to hang?
Yesterday, which is so funny. Like, I don't mean to be a classist bitch.
Girl, you always are.
But there was this guy who was hitting me up on Grindr, and he was really cute. He was like ginger vibes, you know, like bust haircut, like gingery scrub, really hot. Like the pubes were gingery too, which for some reason, like I find that hot. I'm into that. And he had tattoos, and I was like, okay, come on. And then I was like, oh my God, because he was near, we were working, and then he was like near work. So I was like, he probably lives in Chelsea or like lives nearby. So like I was like, oh, I can just get, you know, bulb Tina in the bathroom upstairs and then like go meet him up. But the more I kept talking, the more I was like, and then it's like, it was just like getting like, it was like getting shot down like back to back. It was just like, no, I'm on the bus now. No, on my way back to Jersey. No. And then,
well, that's the problem with the neighborhood that we're in, is because we are so close to Jersey when we're at work. Like, it's across the river, like literally. And then it's always those guys that are hitting me up being like, hey, what's up? You're close. And then it's like, oh yeah, like, where are you right now? I tell them what neighborhood, and they're like, I'm in Jersey City. I'm like, girl, you think I'm gonna leave work at 11 p.m., hop on the bus or the train and take my ass over to Jersey City all the way to then just to come back and go back to Brooklyn? Oh, you are fucking mistaken.
And then like at that point you come about this decision where you're like, okay, well, like, I don't want to judge him for taking the bus, but that also means like he's not gonna like be taking like an Uber to come see me, because sometimes like guys want to commute to you. They don't really care like what distance, whatever.
Yeah.
And like lately I've been doing a little bit more hosting, so I'm kind of getting like dips on like what the vibes are from people being like, well, I can just take a car up there or whatever. But like this guy's clearly taking the bus back to Jersey, which means he's not gonna be Ubering to my place or Ubering back. One, and then like he's
gonna ask to sleep over.
I
like,
know.
That reminds me. Oh my god. In college, my sophomore year of college, I was living in a dorm. And mind you, I was sharing a bedroom. Like, I shared a bedroom. Like, I had a twin XL, and I shared that bedroom. And it was like a 2-bedroom, basically, apartment. And this guy had hit me up on Grindr, and he was like in the neighborhood. He was like, had just like gone out to dinner with friends or something. And he was like kind of drunk. And I think he was like 25, 26. And at the time, I was like 19. And he was like, oh, would you like want to like hang out, like go for a little walk or whatever? He was like, you seem really cute, like would love to get to know you. And I was like, sure. So I left. I met him. He was like, I was living near Gramercy Park at the time, and we like took around like a walk around because we couldn't get in because obviously we don't have access.
Private park,
no key, girl. And so then I invited him back to my place. I was like, oh, you want to come to like my dorm? And he was like, sure. He lived in Jersey City. And so my roommate at the time, I was like, I'd let her know, and she's like, yeah, take the room, it's totally fine, like do your thing, girl. And I said, great. So then bring him in. I had to sign him into the apartment, like to the building or whatever. He comes upstairs, we like are hanging out, tatting, whatever. We then hook up, and by the time that we're done hooking up, he looks at the watch and he was like, oh, the last train into Jersey was like 5 minutes ago. And I was like, oh. And he was like, do you think I could spend the night? And I was like, oh, like, let me check with my roommate. And so then I had to ask her, and I was like, hey, girl, he can't get back into Jersey. Do you think, like, it's okay? And she was like, yeah, like, we're just all, like, you're just going to sleep, right? You're not going to do anything. I was like, no, like, we're not going to do anything. And she's like, okay, that's fine.
You're just going to sleep, right? Because then I'll be listening it.
No, fully. And no, she's like, yeah, that's fine. I was like, okay, great. So then whatever, she comes, like, she goes to falls asleep in bed, and, like, we sleep together in my bed. And then the next morning, like, we wake up, and, like, again, we're in a twin XL, girl. It was tiny. And then we wake up the next morning, he had morning wood, so obviously we were like kind of like playing under my comforter, and I was like kind of jerking him off. It was like whatever, and we had like really good chemistry. Like I thought this was gonna go maybe somewhere. I was like, well, if anything, like we'll hang out again, you know what I mean? Like he'll come back over, like, and we'll fuck for real, because I think we just sucked each other off. Like we didn't have sex because I was like, oh, I didn't douche. Would never. And I love just sucking dick, as everyone knows. And so then that next morning, whatever, I jerk him off a little bit, but then like neither of us like really finish or anything, because like my roommate is right next door or whatever, like literally like across, like 10 feet away. And so then he gets up, and then he gets dressed, and then I have to get out of bed because I have to go down to the lobby to sign him out. And then I sign him out,
You have to sign people out too. They
yeah,
can't just fucking leave.
No. Because when you sign someone in, they have to give their ID to the security guard, and they hold on to that ID because in case anything were to happen,
they need to know who's in.
They need to know who's in the building. And so, I sign him out. Whatever. He leaves. He like kisses me goodbye and goes. And I was like, oh my god, that was so great. I was like, oh my god, maybe future boyfriend. He blocked me. Afterwards, I literally was like, I couldn't find his Grindr profile, but at that point we had exchanged phone numbers. So then
you're like, hello.
So I remember I texted him and he just never responded. Wow. And I was like, oh my god, he used me.
You were free housing.
I was free housing for this man. He just got drunk. He didn't want to go back to Jersey for the night. He's like, let me just find a twink, sleep over, and then call it, and then just go back to Jersey the next day. I got used.
You got used.
And then
again.
So anyway, his name was Matthew. So Matthew, fuck you.
Fuck you, Matthew. Go fuck yourself. I hope you still live in Jersey.
I mean, I'm sure he does. I tried to find him because he never gave me his last name. And when I tried to...
Because you were in love with him.
When I was in love with him.
Cincinnati, you're like, oh my god.
No, I didn't know his last name, and so like I only knew his first name, and so I tried to like look up his like name like via like his phone number. Nothing was coming up. I was like, what the fuck? So I had like literally couldn't find him on socials or anything. So I have literally after that day, I literally don't know what happened to him. He could be dead. I have no idea. But Matthew, if you're out there, fuck you. That was rude.
You. Also subscribe and comment if any Matthew, please comment if your name is Matthew. Please comment.
We love.
And then we'll like definitely screen all Matthews to make sure like it's not the Matthew.
Sure.
Well, speaking to what you said earlier, that's hilarious. I've never had anybody again like, and I've always been in a situation where like if anything, I was the person sleeping over at the person's place. Again, like I don't really have I'm really peculiar with who I'll let sleep at my place. I always end up like I used to do it a lot, like sleep over at guys' houses when I lived in Brooklyn. I used to do it all the fucking time, like so much so that I remember the times based on however many times I didn't have contact lens solution and I just slept in my contacts and I would just wake up with like my fucking like crusty dry eye like
oh my god.
I know it was the worst.
No, in college, like my freshman and sophomore year, I would always sleep over at the guy's apartment, mostly because I wasn't super familiar with the city at that time. By that point, mostly my freshman year, because I mean I had just moved to New York. I'd never been there before. Like it was my first year living here, and then and when I would go to these guys' apartments, like at that point in time, like I was hooking up with mostly older men, so they would Uber me, and so like I would go to their places, and they would live, you know, honestly kind of far from where my dorm would be, and so then by the time we'd finish having sex, it would be maybe like 1 a.m, 2 a.m, and I'd be like, oh, I don't know if it's safe for me to go home at this hour. I can't take the train. And then they would never really offer to like Uber me home. They would just be like, cuddle with me in bed. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just have to do this until the next morning, and then I'll leave like at the ass crack of dawn. And there was this guy, this man, he is a Broadway producer that I used to fuck my freshman year of college. And the first time that I ever hooked up with him, well, he was older. I mean, he's older, and he Ubered me to his place, and I like went over. I can't remember what neighborhood he lived in. He lived kind of like closer to Midtown. It was like more Midtown, I guess, where he was.
This is not the one that we've both interacted with, right?
Wait, which one? No. I've never hooked up with that man. I've never met up with him. I've never met him. I've only talked to him.
I'm actively trying to fuck this fucking producer.
So no, I want to fuck him too.
No, I'm fucking him first.
Well, he's listen.
No, I'm fucking him. Well,
the last time I talked to him, okay, this is not put a pin in what I was just saying. The producer that me and Peru are talking about is a man that has talked to me on the apps before, and he'll always like send me his like nudes, and like they're really hot, and I'm always like, yes.
He's like daddy vibes.
No, he's really daddy vibes. And then anytime I'm like, oh, so like, what are you doing tonight? Like, want to hang? Crickets. So then it's like, okay, but then days later he'll hit me up and be like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, I'm sorry. I asked to hang out. Like, you could literally just respond and be like, oh, I'm busy. Like, it's like literally that easy. And then I'm like, whatever. Anyway, fuck him. But I am going to fuck him. I am going to fuck him eventually.
I don't know.
I want to suck his dick. I just kind of want to suck his dick a little.
I had him start, and then I was just like, wait, like, I don't want to be at his mercy. And I'm just like,
no.
For as much as like I want to fuck with you out of complete just professional interest, like, at this point, that's just like, okay, like if you don't want it, like I'm not gonna like beg you to fuck me. Like you'd be lucky to fuck me, okay?
Yeah, no, true. So anyway, so put a pin. A different Broadway producer, my freshman year of college. He was much older than me. Like I honestly, like he was like in his like late 50s, early 60s. And he Ubered me to his place, and when I got there, he was lovely. We like, as soon as I like walked into the apartment, we were like making out, going at it, and then we like get into his bedroom, and then we were like making out, and he was like, "You're sure you're 18?" And I was like, "I'm sorry, what?" And he was like, "I just want to make sure." He's like, "You're 18, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I could show you my ID." He goes, No, you don't need to do that." And I was like, okay, which was already kind of like weird.
That's bad.
No, I know.
That's bad.
Which means like he's been in a situation before where yeah,
not good.
I know, but at the time I was just like, well, he's hot, so I'm just gonna keep doing it. So then whatever, we hooked up, blah blah blah. The next morning, I left. I like spent the night. I really didn't want to, but he really wanted me to spend the night. Anyway, he was obsessed. Like pussy put him in a like magnet, like
pussy pudding.
No, the pussy put him in a trance.
I heard pussy pudding.
Title of that, pussy pudding. So my pussy pudding put him in a trance, and he was
vanilla or chocolate.
Vanilla. So then he would every like weekend would be hitting me up, and he ordered me the Uber the first time, but then the other times he like wouldn't like offer to like send me an Uber, and I'd be like, oh, you're kind of far, and I would have to like kind of ask without asking to get, and then he'd be like, oh, I can send you a car, and then I'd be like, okay, wait. But then he also had facial hair, but like not really, like he would like clean shave or whatever, but then every time I'd go over, it'd be like starting to just kind of grow back, so it'd be kind of like stubble. So when I would like make out with him, it would scratch my face up, and I would get like rubbed raw. And then there was one day where I like went over, and he was like, can I shave your ass? And I was like, huh? And he was like, I'm really into it, like I just like a smooth butt, can I bend you over and like shave your hole? And I was like, sure. So literally like I literally like went into the bathroom with him, bent over his like tub, and he took his like electric razor and just like started like trimming my ass for me. Just it was like weird. I was like, okay.
Wait, that reminds me of that one time I told you about the guy that made me clean his room. I didn't talk about that on the pod.
Is that like a sex thing?
Well, here's the thing.
Was he like
oh, it may have been a microaggression thing, to be honest. No, listen, I think I've told this story. I mean, I've definitely told this story to plenty of people before.
Well, I haven't heard it.
Well, honestly, I'm not gonna go too much into detail, because it is a longer story, I guess, because it has so much minutia. Like, he was somebody that like friends knew. Like, I was working at this jazz lounge, and
you in the jazz music, girl.
I love a jazz. I'm a cultured bitch.
She loves the jazz.
Yeah, sorry I don't just go to fast food chains and then work. Sorry. That was very pointed.
Wow, gagged. I'm gagged. Literally speechless. I couldn't come back to it. I had no comeback because it's true.
Longest story short, I was working at this jazz lounge. This guy comes with a few friends that I knew. Like, I was friendly with some of these people that used to come all the time, and then they brought somebody else. It was this guy. He was a lawyer, and of course I was like, who? Like Scooby-Doo ears. I was like, lawyer? Let me go over there. So I was flirting with him the entire night. He was definitely into me, and it wasn't even just like a flirtation thing. Like, he was into me, and I was like, okay, lawyer, relax. And so at that point, I was like, okay, like, I really want to, go home with this guy. And like the entire night, he was giving very much like lawyer energy. Like, want to drink, like, whatever you want on me, that kind of vibe.
Oh, so like,
so I was like thinking like, oh my God, like, I'm going to be done with my shift, which I wasn't closing that day at the jazz lounge. So when I got cut, and I stayed to hang out with them, And so I was like, oh my God, like, I'm going to go over to his place. I was just like picturing it in my head. Like, he's going to have like a really beautiful, like, fucking like studio. He's like a lawyer. He's like rich, going to like bring me over and like spend the night. Next thing you know, I find out that he didn't live on his own. He lived with two other people, two of them that were there.
Oh, so he didn't have money.
So I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, at that point, it was like 2, 3 a.m. and we were leaving. So I was like, I was the person that was just like, okay, like I don't want to go all the way to Bushwick. I was like, maybe
A lawyer who lived in Bushwick.
No. I don't want to go to my house in Bushwick. They lived in Alphabet City, which was also kind of like an interesting flag for me because I thought this place was like in the Lower East, like the nice part of the Lower East Side, and I was like, he probably lives around here, like the East Village, or like even like I was even thinking in my head like Soho, you know, because like nearby. But no, they live in Alphabet City, which for those who don't live in New York City, it's like Alphabet City's. There's no trains to Alphabet City really. Well, now the L kind of goes to the A, but if you live on like the BC avenues, like you gotta walk there, and so it's like it's a hard place to get to commuting wise. You either take a car or you walk. And I remember it was really cold. It was like snowy, so we're making over to his apartment now with like 3 other people. And I was like, I thought it was just gonna be us, but like it was his 2 other roommates and an extra friend, and we're all walking there. And I was like, why don't we just take a car? Like, you're a fucking lawyer, you have money. We got to his place.
What kind of law did he practice?
I don't remember.
Oh, well, maybe that plays into it. Maybe that's why he doesn't have a lot of money, because of the kind of law he was practicing.
Oh, well, it doesn't really matter because we got to the Alphabet City apartment. Tiny as fuck. It was so small. Like the 3 rooms were literally on top of each other. The kitchen, living room area was like one thing. And so I was like, at this point, I just want to fuck, you know, and then like sleep over because I didn't want to go back all the way to Bushwick. It was late. I was like, I'll just sleep over here, you know, and then like, you know, cuddle. We're getting it on, and he's naked, and I'm naked, and I'm like worshiping that dick, and I'm like doing it. And then he's just like, yeah, you like this? And he was like acting very dumb. And he was like, stand up for me, like stand right over there, like stand at the bottom of the bed, you know. And I was like, okay. So I'm like standing at the bottom of the bed, and he's like, oh, you look so sexy, now bend over for me. And I was like, okay. So I was like so high, you know. He's like objectifying me. He's like asking me to bend over.
Yeah, love.
And I was like, you like my hole, you know, you like this ass. He's like, all right. His room was really disorganized. Not necessarily dirty, but really disorganized. There were books everywhere on the floor. There weren't enough shelves. It was just messy. He's like, go over to that corner of the room. And I was like, oh, okay. He's like, you see that pile of books over there? Pick those up and move them across the room. And I was like, oh, okay. So like, I'm trying to like be like sexy slut, you know, just like, oh my God, me bending over, picking up these books. I'm going to put. And then he's like, all right, now go back to the corner. You see the other stack? Pick that stack up and put it on top of that table over there. And I was like, okay. Next thing you know, I realized that he's literally asking me to organize his book.
He wanted free maid service. Because he spent all of his money at the jazz club.
And at that point, I was like, wait, am I literally at 3 a.m. cleaning this person's room?
2 birds, 1 stone, mama.
And at one point, I was just like, okay, funny. So I'll get back on the bed, loses his heart on. Dick soft.
But he was hard the whole time while you're cleaning.
Stroking
that must be like a kink of his then. But like that is like crazy, the fact that like.
And I was like, wait, like, can we just fuck? We never fucked that night because I didn't want to keep cleaning his room. So then he was like, okay, like I'm kind of tired, so we just cuddled. And then I woke up the next morning.
Did you ever see him again?
I saw him plenty of times.
Was the sex good?
At the same jazz lounge. We never fucked.
Oh.
Because after I provided free fucking maid services for him, I was like, no. I'm not coming back over here unless we're guaranteed to fuck. And like, no. He was too weird.
Damn. How old was he?
He was like about 5 years older than me. 4. So
how long ago was this?
Like not recent, not long.
Well, I'm just trying to create an image in my head, but you're being
for what?
Of what he was like the image of the man.
He had like curly hair like yours but short.
But like age range, like what would it be?
He was, older than me. Anyway, okay. So
okay, whatever.
So, y'all, before...
Wait, will you hand me the mommy juice? I need to refill.
Oh, yeah. So, while Nick refills on mommy juice, and everyone gets to see, like, the jumbo bottle that we typically... for everyone, we thought it would be fun to discuss one topic that actually came up in conversation yesterday between Nick and I. But before we do, I definitely want to go through our shout outs and our like town hall people that are reaching out to us. Thanks again.
Thank
We
you
love
again.
all.
I have a shout out really quick. Shout out to Manny. We shouted out our good friend Aria, who we also work with, who has her podcast Cool Trans Girl. And she came up to me the other day and was like, "Oh my God, this Cool Trans Girl listener named Manny is like, who's a high school student." DM'd me and was like, "Oh my God, I listen to Pioneers and Trailblazers. I had no idea. They shouted you out." So we just want to shout out to townsperson Manny. Thank you so much for listening. We love you. Thank you.
And shout out to Casper, spelled Kacper, actually, sent us a message saying, "Hey guys, just listened to your last episode and it is sparkle emojis magnificent. I love how much the town hall has grown since the first ep. Sending lots and lots of love from Poland." Heart emoji and cowboy emoji.
Bitch, we're international.
We're getting messages like these all the time, and we really appreciate it. So thank you, Casper, for listening in Poland.
Thank you, Casper.
I don't know. Hey, Siri, how do you say thank you in Polish?
In Polish, thank you is dziękuję.
Dziękuję, Casper.
I'm not gonna attempt, but thank you.
I tried it, but thank you. So please keep sending us your stuff. Show us your support in that way. It really makes us feel good and great. And it also helps us like really understand like the reach of the pod. Not just for us to be like, "Oh my God, we've got international listeners," but like we're trying to build something. We're trying to reach out to people, you know, like work with, and it's nice to know, being like, "Hey, girly pops, who potentially may want to work with us or not. Like, people are listening from different parts of the world, okay? The girlies and the townspeople are listening and watching. So,
Period.
Anyway, so that's the shout out. I have one question that I want to wrap up the show with. But before that, I feel like it's really important for us to discuss. Yesterday, this came up in conversation. Let's talk about porn websites. We have to, because right now, like, we were yesterday talking about like the porn that we were watching, and I was like, wait, like, what site did you use? And then Nick and I just started like rattling off like the random websites, and I cannot believe we've never talked about that, because it's such a relatable topic but so intimate that like I just want to demystify it, because I'm sure townspeople, a lot of these fucking poor websites are gonna be websites you have perused.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
So oh my God, wow, I'm Australian now. Sorry.
It's because we're international. That's why.
International. And also, Casper, if there's any famous Polish gay porn site, please send it our way. We would love to take a look. But okay, let's just talk about like the girly websites.
Well,
should we?
Well, I mean, the one that I use mostly.
What do you use typically? Like when you're like, okay, I want to bust a nut before work. I got 30 minutes. You log on.
Well, so usually what my schedule is, I wake up in the morning, I go to the gym, I come home,
like P Diddy.
I come home, I then.
Oh no.
What?
I just said P Diddy, but
he's like over, girl. He's like an abuser.
Wake up in the morning feeling not like P Diddy.
No, so I wake up in the morning, go to the gym, come home, jerk off, shower, get ready for work, make myself lunch, and then go home. But then when I sit down,
Not go to jazz.
no, girl, we go to jizz. So I like
jazz, more like jizz.
So like pussy pudding.
Pussy pudding's fine.
So,
or like, what porn do you watch? I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, so I lay down in bed, this bed right here, and then I will open up myvidster.com, which is a site that I discovered. I think I was probably like in middle school, high school.
Oh my wow! So you're a loyal fan.
Loyal fan, mostly just because it is like, I don't know how to describe it besides like it's a video collecting website basically.
It's like what's it called? Not YouTube, but the other one that people can watch videos on. What's it called?
I don't know. What do you?
Vimeo?
Oh, sure. Like the thing about it is for those
Vimeo of porn.
Well, for those who don't know, it's like you create an account and you can like collect.
Don't have an account.
Oh, I do, because I created an account, girl. Because then you can like join groups where like you can follow different people, and like you can. It's similar to like YouTube where you like not necessarily subscribe to people, but you can follow them and you can see what they're collecting in like their collections, like what kind of videos that they're saving. And I follow a lot of like people who have like who save a lot of like daddy porn or whatever. So then so I'll go through my subscriptions, see what people are collecting or whatever. It's constantly being updated. People are just like posting videos there. It's also a great resource I found. If like I find a particular performer that I like, then I can like search their name and like I can find a lot of their videos. A lot of it is illegally posted, I'm sure.
Yeah, so Vista is the one place you can go to and like find full-length videos that like are not meant to be there. Like,
right, it's a lot of like OnlyFans creators work, which unfortunately, yes, you should be paying like those people for their videos, but like sometimes, you know, when the budget is limited.
I don't find OnlyFans content on my Vidster. When I go to my Vidster and it pops up on like my Google search, it's usually like Sean Cody videos, you know,
there's
or like
plenty of that.
.com, like those full length ones that you don't want to pay for. Like I find them on my Vidster.
Right, and sometimes if there's a certain performer that I'm very interested in, I will search their name, find their oeuvre of content, and I will sit down and watch. Also, it's helpful like if there's like a scene, like if I know or like see on Twitter like a certain person that I like has collabed with another person that I liked, then I'll like go and search both of their names in the search bar, and then I'll be like so and so and so and so, and then it'll be like a bunch of links to those videos. And like a lot of the links don't work, and like yes, it also a lot of the videos you do have to like go through a bunch of like targeted like ads that are like pop-ups that you have to kind of like get through. But if you have like a pop-up blogger, I'm sure that helps. But like on my phone I just use Safari, so like I just go delete.
You know who I've been like recently really into watching like do the Lord's work? You're familiar with Michael Boston?
Yes,
pretty famous.
I'm familiar with her work.
Miss Michael, if you're watching, thank you so much for like.
It's not, but love.
Oh, hey, love.
I prefer when she tops.
I love Miss Michael because like Miss Michael is an inspiration as to like what, you know, the top tier of bottoming is, you know. And also like I like watching videos where Michael Boston is like when he does like videos with like Raheem or whatever, like Kate Maddox, like, you know, the top girls,
the A-list porn stars.
But like he like there's moments in which they're like literally just hanging out on the bed and they're just talking about just like life and whatever.
And usually Raheem is like smoking a joint.
They're all smoking joints.
And honestly, like when he does that, I find that so hot. When he's just like sitting on the bed and he's like smoking and the other person's like sucking him off. I'm like.
And then like, so Miss Raheem, thank you so much for providing the content for us. We're big fans. Please, if you want to come, and honestly, like I've been telling this to Nick, like I want to have like the only kind of guests that I would want to have are like real townspeople we've talked about or porn stars, and I really want to have. So Miss Michael Boston, Raheem, Cade, other fans, if y'all want to come on the pod and talk.
If you're a porn star or OnlyFans creator and you're listening to us and you would love to be on the show, girl, we would love to say hi.
You don't have to stick around for the entire pod. We can just kiki for 10 minutes, talk about your life, your day-to-day, and you know what? We can make it happen. It'll be fun. But anyway, so like they're like talking and they're like, yeah, so like, oh my god, I have a busy day, you know, whatever. And then they're just like, well, and then Kate Maddox goes like, so like, how do you want to start? And then Michael's like, well, and he's like literally like fingering himself. He's just like, well, with a dick like yours, I guess I'm gonna have to write it. And then like he's literally just like a job. He's just like literally, he's like, okay, so what's the best way to go about writing this dick?
That's how I am when I'm having sex.
Oh no, I never start writing. Never.
I
only start writing. True tea. I only start writing if I'm like dating you.
Why?
Because like it's such a like a hot, sexy move. Like if I'm like dating somebody and like it's my first time having sex with somebody that I'm dating, or like I'm going on a date with, or like it's my first time fucking with somebody who could potentially be a boyfriend, like I just want to give him the full thing. So like, oh yeah, I'll start writing, and like I want to see his eyes, like lock eyes with me, like as I'm writing him. So then he's just like completely like enchanted, like wow, like we had such a great date and like we talked and he was so funny, and now he's like writing my dick.
See, that's not how I operate. I have to start writing for a lot. If it's like a really large penis, when they're like, oh, how do you want to start, I'm like, oh, let me start writing, because then I'm in the one.
I'll do Mishi, because then he can.
No, because it's like, if you're, for me personally, when I okay, my whole, as the townspeople know, tight as fuck. We are hemorrhoid prone. So if it's a huge dick, I want to be the one in control. I don't want, if even like in missionary, it's like, yes, you can be like, oh, slow, or like, oh, not too, like, oh, hold it for a second, or like you can like push up against them to like, you know, stop them from like jamming it in. But like, who's to say that they like, you know, sometimes I've been in a situation where a top gets a little too excited, a little too like greedy when they're putting
slap them.
no, but like when they, but then by that point the damage is done because they rammed their dick in before my hole has fully relaxed to the point where it can take it all. So I would rather, if it's a large penis and it's girthy, I mean, a lot of the times I do start missionary if it's like an average size penis or whatever, but if it's like a big dick, I like not the 71-year-old, but the previous week, the guy who I hooked up with, the baldy, I started writing him because he was really thick, and I was like, I want to slowly just kind of lower myself down on it, because in that way I am the one in control. He is just sitting there, and then I can slowly lower, and then I can just sit on it for a second, let my hole kind of expand around it, and then we get to work, and then she's stretched out, and then whatever, and then you can fuck me missionary, and then you can fuck me doggy. But it's easier that way for me to like get comfortable when it's bigger. So if it's a huge dick, I ride.
Well, I guess going back to the porn situation, it's just like, you know, like I see myself in some other of the porn stars, because they're not always starting writing. They like start in different positions. But anyway, so one of the sites besides OnlyFans, because I am an OnlyFans supporter, I do have I think I have like 3 subscriptions right now.
Who do you subscribe to?
I can tell you. And then we're gonna have to wrap up.
I only ever subscribed, really quick, I don't know if I've mentioned this on the pod before, but I think I told you this before, but I only subscribed to one person on OnlyFans, and it was during like the pandemic, and it was this man who had found me from TikTok. He followed me on Twitter. He's an OnlyFans creator, so he's like 100,000 plus followers at the time. I think he has more now. And he followed me, and I was like, why is this like OnlyFans creator following me? So I followed him back. He DM'd me, and I made a TikTok about this, so some people who follow my TikTok for a while might have heard the story already. But he was like, this is gonna sound so weird, but like, you look so familiar. And I was like, did you find me on TikTok, girl? That's probably why. And he goes, no, like, I saw you on TikTok, that's how I found you, but like, when I saw your video, your face looked so familiar to me. He's like, this is gonna sound weird, but I think you may have been a lover in a past life. And I was like, what are you talking about, bitch? And I was like, by the time I was like, this guy with a huge dick who's so fucking hot is talking to me, and I was like, yes, daddy, yeah, I probably am a past lover from a past life. And then we were like chatting and stuff, and we talked for a really long time, and he was based in Mexico City. And he was like, I come to New York all of the time. Like, I come for work or whatever. He was like, the next time I'm in the city, would love to, like, see you. He's like, obviously, I don't expect you to want to, like, film content with me. I would love to just, like, hang out, get to know you, and then, like, maybe have sex if the chemistry is right. And I was like, yeah, daddy, yeah. Well, I'll get to that in a second. So then we're chatting on and off. Like, we exchanged phone numbers. We were just kind of DMing with each other through Twitter. But then that was at the height of the pandemic. So that was probably, like, March of 2020, April of 2020, and then I came back to New York in August, and I was in quarantine for a week in my dorm room, because when everyone came back, you had to be locked in your room for a full week just to make sure that you didn't, spread COVID if you had it or whatever. So I was so horny, locked up in that room, and I was like, fuck, what am I gonna do? One night just like I wasn't even drunk. I don't even know what it was, because I couldn't leave I didn't have alcohol. So I was just like so horny and like so like stir crazy that I was like, I want to see his videos, because I want to watch a full length video and just see how he fucks. So I subscribed to his OnlyFans, which was like $20 a month, and I subscribed it. I was like, wow. I'll do it for the month, and then it is a lot. And so then I was like, I'll do it for the month, and then I'll cancel it. And he only had a couple of videos on there, and I was like, okay, whatever. He fucked real good, and I was like, fuck. And I like jerked off to his videos and whatever, forgot about it. Didn't realize that I didn't cancel the subscription, so I was getting charged for that OnlyFans subscription for months. And I was like, and I didn't realize it until like I went one day, like months later, that I went into the OnlyFans because I wanted to find somebody else, and I was like, oh my God, I'm still subscribed to him. I was like, oh my God. And then anyway, like a year or two ago, he was like near work. I saw him on the Grindr grid, and I was like, oh my God, hey. Never responded. So we never met up.
Listen, during quarantine, people were reaching out to people they typically wouldn't reach out to.
What are you trying to say?
Anyway,
Fucking bitch.
Here are the keys with OnlyFans, because it also ties to porn watching and like where you go to consume. OnlyFans is clearly, you know, is a platform in which you go and you subscribe to somebody whose work you truly like. So you're like, I could spend a month just watching this person's, like, you know, content, which is all fair. And listen, there's a lot of talk about, like, you know, like supporting sex workers and whatever. I'm supporting sex workers and performers in the way that I can. I cannot afford to have like a monthly subscription for like so many artists, porn artists, creators. But I will definitely like rotate. So like what I do is like I subscribe to like 3 or 2 at a time. And so like I just subscribe for like the month, and then like I immediately unsubscribe because I don't want to keep that bill going. But then like I will consume, and then like I will check out other people based on their videos. So I'm just like, oh, like that person that they fucked, they were really hot, you know, whatever. Then I go to their profile and I subscribe to theirs next, you know, like, or like I favorite them so I can have them on my roster for later, you know, so I can check them out later.
Sure.
So right now, my rotation is at Hung Skater. I don't know if you're familiar with Hung Skater.
Oh, I love Hung
Hi, Hung Skater. If you're
Skater.
listening or watching,
Oh my god, I would love to have sex with him.
Well, Hung Skater provides this vibe where it's just like not so pretentious. Like it is very much like Hung Skater's giving you skater vibes, like that one guy who the alt kind of guy like at work that's just like you don't.
Okay, he's a little bit like, he reminds me of someone that would, I mean, I think, isn't he based out of like San Francisco or something?
I think it's Seattle or definitely West Coast.
Yeah, he's based out the West Coast, but he gives like the vibe of someone who's like a Bushwick, like Brooklyn kind of
so
like
Hung
gay
Skater's
guy.
giving Bushwick, but like Cali Bushwick.
But like he's like, yeah, but he's like very much like, I don't know, there's something about him that feels a little bit more attainable. Like he is kind of just like, I don't know how to describe it, but
he's like, I mean, the good thing with Hung Skater and other creators like him is that like he really does feel like a real person, which is great.
Yes. He's not like some like insta gay, you know. He's like
which, I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen his online media presence, so like I'm not trying to read Miss Hung Skater either to filth, but like,
but just from like watching his videos, like for me, like Kate Maddox or like some of these other OnlyFans who are like a little bit kind of. I mentioned this to Peru the other day, where I'm like, it's a little bit like roided out. In a way.
Listen, I am Miss Kate. I am a fan of Miss Kate Maddox. I feel like
Me
he
too.
provides what he provides, and he's gotten the recognition. He's a recent Gay VN Award winner. Don't you forget.
High school, he changed my life in high school.
Kate Maddox, you've changed our lives with your porn career, and we just want to say, come on the pod.
But he Hung Skater isn't that kind of
You
brand.
found Kate Maddox in middle school?
Like middle school, high school, yeah. He was like the one that I was like into in like high school.
I discovered Kate Maddox not that long ago, actually. I discovered Kate Maddox via, I think, the Big C Man. You know the Big C Man, the California, I think.
Bald guys.
The shaved haired guy or bald guy.
Yeah.
The no hair guy with his partner. They had like a nice
No hair to be PC.
no hair guy. They had like this like luxurious like LA. Fucking huge. They have like a huge gym, a huge penthouse. I'm like, I don't know what they work or what they do, but like they're making money.
Well, girl, they're OnlyFans.
Yeah, but I think they were before OnlyFans. They were doing some kind of work. I feel like he was doing some kind of like money that generated some kind of work that generated money. But
Well,
anyway,
because Kate Maddox was doing like a lot of studio work at the time, and
Yes,
I was really into. I'm not so much into it now, but like when I was in high school,
no, I like Kate Maddox. I like Kate Maddox indie work. I am not Kate Maddox. I don't consume much of your studio work. I love your indie work with Raheem, Kate Maddox, and Michael Boston.
So I
could watch.
So Kate
all the
Maddox,
time.
in high school, I was really into like the very heavily produced studio stuff. Like I loved that sort of vibe, like that. I don't know what it was, but it really turned me on, and so I was really into it. And
it like legitimized it. Like, yeah, like look at these studios like shooting like gay people.
Sure,
have sex.
and at the time, I think like when I was in high school, like for me, like Kate Maddox was like, he wasn't like. I mean, he's older, but like at the time, I think he was probably like in his 30s. But like a lot of the videos were like, "Daddy, Kate Maddox," and I was like, "Well, he's not that old." But like,
well, for us, we were young, so we're like, "Yeah, Daddy."
Right, but then I mean, and he's old. I mean, he's like what in his 40s now, and like,
I don't know.
I'm not super into. I mean, I think it's because I like got everything that I needed from him. Like it was like a boyfriend. It was like a relationship. Like it's over now. Like I've moved on. Like there are other creators that I'm more interested in. But he really did it for me in time, and I loved his pubes. Like I'm like really into pubes.
No, I like well, so Hung Skater has great pubes.
And like there's something about it, like just
And his mustache.
Yeah.
It feels.
I love facial hair. I love it.
The key with Hung Skater is that it's natural. So like from the pubes to the mustache to his demeanor, it feels very real. He's like Adam. Does that make sense? Like he's very like a real. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like he seems like a little bit like
Not tailored, not like.
Sure, there's something like I would probably see him on Sniffies. Like that's like the vibe about him. Like I'd see him on like Grindr or something, and he'd be like, you want to come over and sit on this dick? And I'd be like, yes. Versus like Cade Max would be like in the profile, similar to like Austin Wolf, where it's like their profiles are like, which their profiles are like, I'm only if you want to hang out, it's only for content creation, which is like. I was like, you're not like a real person then. Like to me, like you're not.
Yeah, but I still like Austin. I still appreciate the work that he's done. Like he's definitely been trailblazing in the porn community for a while. Like Miss Austin Wolf was one of the first just content creators, to be honest. I will say that Miss Austin Wolf has been like producing that work before like OnlyFans became a thing. Before anything, like Miss Austin Wolf was producing that content. So. But don't get it twisted.
Well, I've seen her studio. I discovered her doing her studio work, and then I think I don't know if I mentioned it on the pod, but I certainly
as an independent producer, and
sure, and he's making
more kudos to Miss Austin.
But he hit me up. I don't know if I mentioned this on the pod, but like when I
both of us up again
in college, he hit me up, and I was like,
I exchanged some things, and we were scheduling it, and I was like, sure, I'll shoot content, and then
you have to show face,
and then I have to show face,
and it says it on his profile now because he was like near work the other day, and I saw it, and I just like looked, and I was like, and he's like, have to show face. And I was like, oh.
At that point, I wasn't prepared. Maybe now, honestly, to be honest.
Would you?
I am not opposed to doing a sex video with an established porn creator. Like, I wouldn't be opposed because then it would just be like a collaboration on any other artistry level. Like, I wouldn't mind doing a video with a porn creator because they're all already a professional in their field. So for me, it would just be like a different kind of performance. And it's not like I would just become like an adult performer, but I am saying that I am not close to the idea of like collaborating in that sense with a specific person. Does that make sense? So like if like somebody that like I liked and I was a fan of, and they were like, like if Romeo Davis told me to collaborate, I would do it.
I wouldn't. I think like I'm a performer ultimately at the end of the day, but I don't think adult performance is necessarily something that I'm super passionate about or would want to do. I think also because like I am a pretty like my sexuality in terms like I love talking about having sex and like everything, obviously this podcast, but like having people watch me have sex, I'm like, ooh, I don't know about that. That's why I'm like always like I don't have like group sex a lot because I'm more so like one-on-one kind of thing, and it's like I just want it for this like one person. This only one person's gonna see me in this position or like see me like this or whatever at this time, versus like knowing that a lot of people have like access to be able to like see my naked body. I don't know. I think a lot of it has to do with probably like the way that I like my insecurity is just about like my like the way that I look or whatever. But I'm also like, I think also part of me, which is like I have to unlearn, but like the stigma, I think, which is like kind of lessened now, I think, is because like
very much so. I mean Porfi and all these other creators, Michael, Kate, they all have hundreds of thousands of followers online. And I'm not saying metrics wise that's important. I'm just saying people are watching.
Or I'm just thinking like
people
or like celebrities
and understand what they're doing for us. And so like it is to be acknowledged and respected.
Well, and I think my thought process has always been like, oh, I want to like work in Hollywood, and I'm always just like, would that hinder or like prevent me from like getting jobs? Which I think the pandemic showed that like all of these celebrities started their own OnlyFans accounts because they needed to pay their bills. Like Tyler Posey, he had his like OnlyFans account for a while. We've all seen that dick, mama.
Yeah, like, but also at the same time, I'm just like, instead of looking at it in such a judgmental way, like, oh, I want to work in Hollywood, I want to work. I will look at it this way. I'm like, oh, then why can't I be the first person who's done sex work to fucking be in Hollywood? Why can't I bring that platform? I felt the same way about like a lot of like our trans sisters who like are openly talking about like having previously done sex work and now being in film and TV, and just, you know, it's just it is very much about like talking about sex in a way that like feels more like sometimes a necessity in work, but for some people, not me. I cannot compare myself to people who have had to do that for work, but also being like, yeah, it is a job. And like, there's absolutely no shame in people who do sex work for a living. It is definitely at work that 99% of the fucking population in this world could never even imagine or dare to fucking do. And the fact that we have sex workers to do that for us, it is pivotal, and it is part of culture, and it is part of what most of the entire world consumes. And so let's just start acknowledging the way that it is. Well, if I'm gonna do a fucking like adult video, if I'm gonna be collaborating with a fucking like a sex or online content creator for sex work, and somebody's gonna be like, well, that ruins your chances of succeeding, I would be the ultimate fucking advocate of being like, no, actually this empowers me and makes my chances of succeeding even better, and I will actually share my sex video with everybody so everyone can see the amount of work that it takes to do that kind of work.
No, good for you. I think also just like the idea that it is work, and like I don't know if I necessarily want to have something that I love and enjoy so much, which is sex, become a job, because then I'm like, does that take the fun out of it? Does that, once it becomes your job, then is it one of those situations like where you're Austin Wolf or Kate or whatever, where you're only on these apps to record content?
Well, of course, but that's different, because like what Miss Austin and them are doing from my perspective is this is their job. I would only be doing it if I were to do it as an artistic exploration of levels of performance. Because let me tell you, when I was at that Dick Doc in P-Town last summer, Mama was performing.
Well, yeah, life is a performance, girl. We're always performing.
And then I found myself being like, you know, and of course, famously, I did top that one time in that group in P-Town.
Never forget.
And that was a performance. And so all those experiences and instances, I was just like, I am ultimately performing. So I was like, wow, like even sex can be a performance that can bring pleasure, that can bring attention and validation. And so that's all to say, whatever. I wouldn't be opposed to doing it in a way that was like with somebody that I admired, and in a way that it wouldn't become my job. I don't think I would like to work as a sex content creator, but I wouldn't be opposed in doing a collab.
Sure. Okay. What's this question that we have to?
The question. Oh wait. Before we do a question, any other? We all use Pornhub. Obviously, Pornhub has become kind of just like the YouTube really of porn. Sometimes
Boyfriend
it's
TV.
a hit, it's a miss. Boyfriend TV. You skip through 15 ads and then you finally reach the video. That's great.
TV, those are pretty much, I mean, if my Vidster is down, which honestly, like sometimes it is down a lot, they have to do maintenance a lot on it, then I'll go to Boyfriend TV, but those are the two ones that I use.
Justgay.com.
I won't use that one.
Justgay.com.
Or Twitter, you know.
Twitter or X, I will find the people, and then I will go type their name on.
Oh, 100%. When anyone on Grindr has like their alt included in their bio, I'm searching that shit up, and I am scrolling through and looking.
And I'm like, what is this? And then when I see it and I like it, I immediately send my album. I'm like, they're like a creator or I'm like, oh, here's my album.
I don't ever message. Like I'm like, I just like to look. I just like to see.
XTube is still out there. It feels dated sometimes a bit, like nothing really too current. XTube, I feel like I find this a lot of the like underground, like,
I don't know if this is still real or if it's still up, but in high school I used to use this website called PornMD, and then you would just like search, and then it would like go across like multiple websites and like find like videos for you and suggest them, and then like you would click
like
the link.
Expedia of porn.
Kind of, yeah. But I don't know if it's still around or if it whatever. But that's what I would use in high school before I found my Vidster.
Interesting.
Yeah, RedTube I used in high school.
RedTube. Oh my god, RedTube. What a good time to be alive, really. So many sources of entertainment.
Thank God. What's the question?
Right. So this person wants to be kept anonymous, but thank you for submitting in. I guess I can say you're from Arizona. Is that fair?
That's fine.
Great. Yeah. But anyway, hi Arizona.
Hi.
Townspeople. My question is, how long should you date someone before popping the question? Exactly. We're both goofed and gagged because I'm like, Arizona townsperson. The fact that you asked us this is
Well, first of all, I can't even get past a first date, so I don't know if I'm like really the one to be given advice on this.
The rest just said, love y'all's pod, always listen to it on my way to work when I'm working out, and y'all make me laugh. Sending love from Arizona.
Thank you. I'm just gonna speak really quick and just say, I mean, it's gotta be over a year. Like, it has to be longer than that. Like, honestly, like for me, I would need to be dating someone for a year, and then I would bring up the topic of moving in. And then once you live together, give that like a year. See if you actually, you can actually cohabitate together and that works, and you operate on the same level in that regard, and then pop the question. So then ultimately 2 years.
And the interesting part about that is that out of convenience, people who live in metropolitan cities like New York or LA that are expensive, it's like a lot of people be moving in together because it is going to be more affordable for them to like share a space.
For financial reasons,
and,
for sure.
Financial reasons. If you have a partner that like is actually able to decompartmentalize, well, I'm having a stroke. Decompartmentalize the romantic element of moving in together, but also the convenience of moving in together, like whatever. But as someone who has lived in with somebody for like almost 2 years, I will say, as a friend who has friends who get engaged or get married, I would be alarmed if somebody got proposed to or proposed to somebody else that was under a year.
Oh, 100%.
As a friend, that's my opinion. As myself, I feel like there are so many other elements of like, or stepping stones in a relationship that you could check before proposing to somebody. If you're really in love with somebody, and by like the 4th month or 3rd month or 2nd month, you're like, this is my person, then maybe start with the other stuff. Like,
no, and with my girlfriends, one of my best friends from high school, she got married right after we graduated college, so we were 22. Mind you, she had been with her now husband since we were sophomores in high school, so like they were high school sweethearts, whatever. But I'm kind of operating under like, if like I would bring up, I'm like, why do you need to get married now? You're so young. And she's like, because we love each other so much, and we just like, we know we're gonna be together. I'm like, well, if you know you're gonna be together forever,
then just
why don't you just why do you need to have the marriage? Because also marriage brings about other things, like you're sharing your finances, there's a lot of things that kind of go on with marriage that is included, that, listen, like and it's like it's legally binding, and like I get it, if you want to be with that person and that's the one, great. Why rush? Yeah. I'm a romantic. Like, I don't know if I will ever get married. Like, I think it's way more romantic to like be with, like, just choose to be with a person and like and just like stick together for as long as possible. Like, I think like that's really romantic to me, because I'm like, as soon as you get married, I mean, I'm watching Love is Blind right now, and all those bitches on there, I mean, they're straight, so it's very different than like a queer relationship, but they're all like, I have to get married, I want to get married so bad. And I'm like, but why? Is it because society is telling you that's what you should be having right now at your age? Or is it because, what other reasons that, are bringing about that? But I do think, like, yeah, if it's under the year, I'm like, girl, if you know that you're gonna be with this person forever, like, yeah, why are you rushing it? Like, as soon as you start getting, like, you're bringing in marriage into the question, then it's like all these other things and concerns that you have to worry about. Anyway.
Yeah, but also ultimately too, it's just like the question was like, how early is too early to pop the question? When you pop the question, from that moment to then actually getting married, a lot of people get engaged, and it goes like a year or two before they actually have the marriage. And so like, is the assumption that like you're wanting to pop the question early because you want to marry this person immediately? Because then if so, sometimes you also see somebody who's engaged for a long time, and you're like, when's the wedding? And like, if you don't want to go through the trials and tribulations of people asking you constantly when you're gonna get married, just wait. But I would say anybody across the board will tell you that like anything before a year requires some extra thinking. Just give it an extra thought. If you're really in love with this person, then like actually use it as a vessel to like continue this relationship until like there's been enough time for you to like warrant a proposal. I feel like, you know, proposals are something so special that I personally don't think that you should just give it away like in 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that is really early. And it also depends on how long you know them. Like, have you known them for like a really long time prior to you dating? Or is it, or have you only known them for like, what, 4 months? Like, you know, that also plays into it. But anyway, do you have a pioneer? My trailblazer for the week is gonna be Ryan Beatty. I mean, I've been a fan of him since literally like he first started. I've been listening to his album Boy in Jeans again for like the first time in like years, and it's been on repeat. Okay, come on, queer artists. And then also his album Calico and Dreaming of David are both like so delicious. And I don't know, like there's just something about the way that his songwriting abilities that are just like really romantic, and I'm in a really romantic kind of mood and vibe, even though I have no men around me, which I think is really beautiful and slay. I'm just like romanticizing my life, and I think Ryan Beatty is perfect for that. So listen to his music. Yay!
Please follow us, Pioneers and Trailblazers, on TikTok and on Instagram
and YouTube.
Subscribe, review, follow. Those things help. Right now we're gonna be better about posting stuff for you guys to share to other people, to potential townspersons to come join the fucking town. And follow me at Hey Peru on Instagram and on TikTok.
And you can follow me at nicholas.rose on Instagram, clownfacebinch on TikTok, and clownfacebitch on X/Twitter.
And last but not least, a lot of you guys have sent us messages, DMs, about potentially having a line for you to drop like voice questions or advice from us. We have talked about it. It has been brought up. A lot of you guys have mentioned that up. Maybe we can have a fun episode in which we can attempt that, but just so you know, that hasn't gone unaccounted for. We have read those messages, and maybe we're trying to consider that. Oh my god. And last but not least, we're doing a live. Happy 6 months to us, Pioneers and Trailblazers. We're doing a live. This is Monday. You're watching this on Monday. This coming Friday, we're gonna go live for like 20 minutes or so. We're gonna do it on Friday. We're gonna post the time. It's definitely gonna be like late afternoon, early evening, because we want to do it before watching Drag Race.
Right.
In New York City,
because we have our priorities in check, mama.
But I'm thinking like around the like 5 p.m. Eastern American time or 6 p.m. Eastern American time. We're gonna go live. We'll post the time. Hopefully a lot of you guys can join us to just like kiki for like 20 minutes. We just want to talk to you guys about Drag Race, about sex, about anything to celebrate our 6 months. But we love you guys and hope you all can make it. And we'll see you soon.
Bye.